All right, good morning, everybody. It is still 7:15. It was a bit late this morning. ZMH 286, Patricia and David, Gulf Harbour Radio, and I'm looking outside at the beautiful clear sky we've got here this morning. It's not a brilliant red like it was yesterday. It is the 11th of June, Tuesday, 1020.7 steady on the bar, 14 degrees. It's about 3 knots from the west, not much here. So it's still a week of people dribbling out. Those that jumped the gun will be a little bit stuck for wind at the moment, but those that are still waiting to do the Wednesday, Thursday, still looking pretty good by the sound of what David's been muttering, but we'll wait for him. Certainly those that need to get going because of patience problems are continuing to dribble out today and tomorrow. So we'll certainly be looking forward to hearing where they are. At the moment, we have got Kuhila, and Kuhila left from Nelson, you will recall, and they're at they're just past the 32 mark. They're at 3157 and 17252 east with no wind. So they're motoring, but at exact same latitude further to the east, further to, I've got this all the way around the wrong way.
Coahuila's 37.
Yes, Coahuila is at 3157 and 17252 east, and he has got a bit of wind. He has got no wind. Goodness gracious me. Coahuila 37. Well, I must have written that down wrong.
You did, because he just left Nelson. If he got up to 31, he's a rocket ship.
He's a rocket ship. Okay, all right. So in that case, you can cancel all of what I was looking at, because anyway, Marin, who left Tauranga area, I put 7-2 instead of 7, but never mind. Marin, and I can't read my own writing, which is very tiny because I transfer it from the computer so that I can just have it all consolidated. Marilyn left Tauranga, and they do have wind. He's at 31 and 176. 38 east, 12 knots of easterly, so very nice conditions for Marilyn having left Tauranga. So I think I'd be better off reading the news, but is there anybody out there wanting to give a report, please call now.
The U.S. going to get a full announcement.
There is the frontal band, of course, that these folk will get, but when we had a look at it, it's still not exactly pushing a big punch.
He's going to be hitting this.
Yes, he's going to be hitting that. Okay, all right. Well, I'm sure these folk from Nelson know what's ahead of them, and they won't hear us anyway. Just to let you know that the SOPAC net, that's the cruiser net, that's on morning and evening, it's now established on 6209 upper sideband, so 6 meg 6209, and that's for both 2000 Zulu, that's after this, and 0530 in the evening. Now, I think why my brain is not good is because I've been using the GPS too much. John on Amazing Grace sent a really interesting article that appeared in the Washington Post, which of course is a bit of a red flag. They sometimes have rather strange things, don't they?
It's a commie paper.
It's a commie paper, says David. But anyway, this was written from a lot of tests that they had done about the effect of the use of GPS and the cognitive brain, the hippocampus part of the brain. Now, it's suggesting that people actually chuck their GPSs away. Because when you're driving, and I know this for a fact, if you use your GPS when you're driving, you tend to concentrate on the left, right, second exit from the roundabout and so on and so forth. You don't take any notice, really, of where you are. You just follow directions. And so the hippocampus doesn't get any sort of work. And after years and years of that, it starts to atrophy. And the hippocampus is actually critically important for sort of your spatial orientation in the world. So sort of psychologically, you sort of need to know where you are. But it's also a critical part of the episodic memory that you have. Because if you do a trip like a couple of times, then you should be able to remember things from one to the other. But if you're using the left, right, straight through type thing, you don't pay any attention at all. So the chances of getting Alzheimer's in your older age are very much greater. They found that when they looked at taxi drivers in London, now you'll know that they do this, I can't think what they call it, the test anyway. They've basically got to know all of the streets in London, and they found that their hippocampus was incredibly well developed, no matter how old they were. So if you want to exercise your hippocampus, I'm not sure how this relates to the cruising world, but I know I've got incredibly lazy when cruising. We started off when we had we still have wonderful charts for everything, and some of these were topographical, so you could get near land and you could work out exactly where you were by looking at or doing sites, and you could see on the chart the mountains and valleys and sort of beach areas, and you really worked it out from looking at your chart and where you were, and you knew what 5 kilometres or 5 miles, should I say, was, but just by looking at it, by training yourself. And over the years, I can admit I got very, very lazy. I would turn on the GPS, and you just didn't use your brain anymore, did you? So if you want to use your hippocampus for very good reasons, being so contributory towards post-traumatic stress syndrome and Alzheimer's, then just switch it off. It would save power. What have you got?
I've got post-traumatic.
You've got post-traumatic stress syndrome? Okay, well, we'll definitely turn the GPS off next time we go. All right. Well, talking about, I wonder if we've got Nihaj this morning. She's way over there now, 151, towards the Coral Sea. So I'm not sure that Suzanne will be hearing us, but good morning to you, Suzanne, if you are. And Elisham, they actually got, no, not Elisham, goodness, I am having a struggle this morning. The boat that was going to Samoa, was in Samoa. I must have been using my...
That's last year's notebook.
Last year's notebook. We are having a struggle here this morning, folks. All right, moving on. There's been a combination of two rather major companies in the world. Raytheon, who we got upset with many years ago because when they moved into Ray Marine, everything, we had to get all new charts talking about GPS charts. But anyway, United Technologies and Raytheon have merged in an all-stock deal. It's a merge of giants, basically.
That has nothing to do with Ray Marine.
No, I know it doesn't have anything to do with Ray Marine. But anyway, it's going to be a huge organisation. Raytheon are into missile defence systems and cyber security products and that sort of stuff. But United Technologies makes jet engines and elevators, so I suppose it will be quite an interesting combination. So a rather large company there. In Dallas, Texas, just to show the storms haven't all been in New Zealand, a crane collapsed onto an apartment, and this was during a very major thunderstorm period of activity. 1 dead and quite a few injured, at least 6 injured. Well, here's something that might help our fading brains. It says magic mushrooms are now slowly being decriminalised. Remember that year? I wonder how long ago that was. It was a long time ago that they decided they had to be, if you had magic mushrooms, well, that was as bad as having cannabis. But anyway, trials have shown that the active ingredient in a magic mushroom, which is, it's a bit of a funny word, it's a PSI word, so psilocybin, it's highly effective in treating depression. So it's now back in the good books. So you might have to, actually a boat would be a good place to grow mushrooms, isn't it? Down in the bilge, it's all nice and dark.
I think we have mushrooms there.
We had mushrooms there. All right, in the White House, there's all sorts of stuff goes on in the White House, which I tend to ignore each day. But Jared Kushner, who is, of course, the president's son-in-law, who's a major part of the White House team, he is the part owner of a real estate company, I think it's called Cader, that has received about 90 million in overseas funding from an unknown person or persons or company since he joined the administration. So people are not very happy about that. The company is actually run by Goldman Sachs in the Caymans. So, of course, it's a little bit of a conflict of interest there.
Sounds fishy to me.
Fishy to you? We're talking about fish. Well, it's not really about fish. Japan will resume whaling next month, but not in the Antarctic. So it looks like success has been to get them out of the Antarctic, and so far that's okay. But they are going back, targeting various species next month. Kiwis will leave Iran by next June, a year away. It's only 121 over there doing various military things, but they're going to reduce their presence in the entire Gulf states. They're going to even drop the people in Afghanistan. Okay, Air New Zealand has eased restrictions on what sort of tattoos can be visible to the public. They've had a very strong policy of not having tattoos, which I am totally in agreement with. But of course, our Indigenous population have decided that that's not on, and that they would like to have. I hope they don't have that mocha. That would be enough to scare everybody off.
No.
But anyway, they've decided that there will be a different classification. I'm sure it's going to lead to an awful lot of argument and court cases and all the rest of it. But anyway, you will soon see a little bit of tattooing on your Air New Zealand staff if you ever get on Air New Zealand. And finally, with Canada, Canada is going to ban single-use plastic in 2021. So I'm not sure what that means. I didn't read
single-use plastic?
Yeah, single-use plastic. I mean, there's an awful lot of stuff in single-use plastic. They're not just talking about plastic bags. When I look in my fridge, I don't think it would be half empty if I couldn't buy things in single-use plastic bags, or containers, should I say. Some of these containers for meat, actually, are now you're going to be able to go into certain shops and Countdown and take your own containers in. I mean, shopping is going to be a half-day affair very shortly.
It's like it was 100 years ago.
Yeah, like it was 100 years ago. But anyway, since 1960, I think the Canadians say, can't read my writing, the use of plastic has gone up 20%. Okay, I am going to ask for somebody up there that I can hear. You know that who you are. I need somebody on frequency today to give a call to any boat that cannot copy me. Have we got Pilgrim or Eye Candy or someone? Please call. Oh dear, we have the woodpecker, and I probably should have found out whether you are copying me. Could I have a report from Fiji, please? You go ahead, David.
Yeah, you've got the helicopter thing happening, over.
Was that interfering?
Yeah, I've got the that same problem on 8779 too. Is it? I take it it's right over the top of us, over.
On and off, over.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
No. Okay, I'm just having a quick look. There's, I think we're going to have to switch frequencies for the weather. David, is it audible, or do I need to change? Over.
It's audible, but it's intermittent. It's not all the time. Over.
Okay, well, we'll give it a go, and then what we'll do, if people need something, I'll move to 8, 2, 9, and 7. It's not a huge amount of weather this morning anyway, so we'll do that and go from there. I'm just scanning through I'll go through what's come up on streaming after David is finished. Here he is.
Yeah, that's a pain. Well, I'll talk a little bit louder, and good morning to all of you. So we've got a bit of a weather change today here in New Zealand. We've got cyclonic flow over the country. Frontal bands are nearing us from the west. There's a small low actually developing just off of East Cape. By lunch, it'll be just twirling around there. That's going to skew the winds a little bit from Bay of Plenty up to North Cape. That's not going to affect hardly anybody, except there are a couple of boats that are running north to clear the country before they head up to the islands. Now, those who left New Zealand Monday will find a trough. It's actually two troughs across the cruising route. By Wednesday, tomorrow, lunchtime, we'll find the Tasman Depression pretty much over New Zealand. And there will be two small subtropical depressions to the north of New Zealand. So in addition to the big one in the Tasman, these are two little tiny ones that are to the north, and they are affecting Fiji, Tonga, and the cruising route as well. Now, one of these, from the model standpoint, is showing just southwest of Tonga Tapu, and the other one a little bit further toward New Zealand, about 28 south and 178 east, about halfway between here and Fiji. These are getting active. Now, by lunch Thursday, the East Cape Depression, that little one, looks like it's going to be a wee bit north from where it was, but it's going to expand. The cyclonic flow is going to work its way all the way up to 26 south. So that's all cyclonic flow from New Zealand toward Fiji and Tonga. Now, off to the east of us, our high that we had is building to about a 1034, and it is going to create a swash zone between it and New Zealand. Now, this low that I just described forms once again on the left shoulder of the big high. So here's another example of activity on that part of these large anticyclones. So for future, always pay attention to these big highs. Anyhow, the swash zone, all it's going to do really is to send slightly larger seas to the north, a little more so than expected, I think, because the wave models are not picking this up at all, although Tonga is reporting large swells coming in. So that's the story there. Now, those leaving today, New Zealand that is, will find a trough. Well, it's a funny directional angled trough. It's going to run offshore, but off North Cape to East Cape. So it's got that kind of an angle to it, but it's offshore a bit. So you've got very light air between, I would say, between New Zealand and that trough. And once you get to the other side of the trough, the winds change to northerly. And they're not going to be northerly for very long, but it's just going to be an annoying thing. So those of you that have left early, that are going that way, will encounter that. Those of you that are leaving today might encounter that. Now, the next frontal band is going to arrive Wednesday morning, and could very well be. Well, I'll tell you where it's going to be by tonight. It's going to be just to the west of 90 Mile Beach. So unfortunately, the Kailua, is that what it is?
Kahila.
Yeah, they're the ones that left Nelson heading north, the west side of New Zealand. They're unfortunately going to encounter that. And that will have a little bit of wind behind it, which they could use for a push. It'll be 20, 25 knots behind it. Anyway, that's going to arrive on top of New Zealand during Wednesday. And that's going to have northwest winds proceeding at around 15 to 20. And they'll be lessening Wednesday evening. Now, Thursday, when that passes through, Thursday, southwest 15 roughly, with a fairly moderate southeast swell just offshore, and that'll continue into Friday. So this then, Thursday is another opportunity to leave. Now, I know a bunch left Sunday, some left Monday, some are going today, so forth and so on. Thursday of all the days looks probably like the best, and I think we said that early on last week, and then we sort of changed, or I sort of changed my mind to maybe Wednesday, but then it looks like Thursday might after all be a little bit better. So you would have then southwest winds all the way up to 30 south, and that's going to continue right through Saturday. Just keep on going right through Saturday, and you will be at 30 south by Saturday. I think if you leave Thursday, it takes about 3 days to get up to 30 south. So you'll have southwest winds to push you along. Then the winds from that point are going to back very slowly. They'll go south, then southeast, and then maybe east-southeast. And that will happen very gradually up to about Tuesday, the 18th of June. So that will certainly be very easy to make Minerva Reef. So in other words, those that leave Thursday, you'll make it to 30 south with no issue and get up to 24, where Minerva is very easily with the winds slightly behind you. Now, the ridge, which is then going to dominate the cruising routes, that is probably going to hold until the following Thursday. So we're going to have almost a week and a half of pretty decent direction winds. Might even be a little bit longer than that. So this is a window, I suppose. It's not great, but it's doable, and it sounds like a lot of you are just going regardless. So nothing really evil in any of these troughs that I'm looking at, but you will get some squalls, and they are never fun, no matter how neat the trough is. Now up to Tonga, where the trough that I mentioned yesterday definitely moves over the group of Avao, the Hapais, Tonga Tapu, all affected. Expect plenty of wind, heavy rain. Tonga Met issues a number of warnings: strong wind warning, heavy damaging swell warning, and a small craft advisory. And they're expecting east to northeast winds 15 to 20, rising up to 25 knots. And seas 2 to 4 meters, with a southwest swell, getting up to 4 meters near Tonga Tapu, but a little bit less than that further north. And much the same tomorrow, I would say, but the swell should start to come down, should start to diminish. Now, 5 o'clock this morning, I pulled down the Met-Tarsi Airport reports. Tonga Tapu, northeast 10, had broken to overcast. Rain was reported, and the barometer 1015. Hapais, east 15, scattered to broken, and barometer 1014. And Vavau, southeast, about 10, scattered to broken, and barometer 1013. And they had periods of rain that they reported as well. Over to Fiji, the trough that was over Rotuma yesterday has indeed slipped to the south over the main group now. So Fiji is sitting underneath this nice juicy trough. So expect cloud showers and including thunderstorms, and that will bring much heavier rain and, of course, wind shifts as well. Now, there is an additional trough that extends all the way from New Zealand. I talked about that a minute ago. And that hooks up with this Rotuma trough, we'll call it. So there is plenty of convective activity. And in addition, I'm seeing cyclonic winds around the country, around all of the islands. And that is from essentially the low that I mentioned earlier that has developed one of those two lows. So we're seeing northwest, north to northeast from the Koro Sea to the Lau, and they're getting up to 20 to 25 knots. Then it looks like southerlies for Kindavu, or western Viti Levu, Muscat Cove, And then it looks like west to northwest for the upper Usawas and Vanua Levu. So there's kind of a circle of wind, and they are 20 to 25 knots in those areas, but I think they're going to decrease fairly rapidly into Wednesday and Thursday. And at that point, the winds are going to be mostly southerlies. Over to Vanuatu, imagery shows mostly fair conditions up and down the group. The winds mostly south-southeast in the 15-knot range out in the open water. A wee bit lighter for Anisham. Wednesday now, still south-southeast, mostly 15 knots, but to be safe, I'm going to call it 15 to 20 for Wednesday. And New Cal looks fair under imagery, however, scattered clouds are apparent, so you could expect brief showers, but they'll be isolated. The winds, light, south-southeast to southeast, around 10 knots for the southern lagoon area, a little bit higher up in the loyalties. The wind does pick up a bit in the afternoon today for the southern lagoon, and tomorrow expect partly cloudy, the wind south to southeast, probably 15 to 20 thereabouts. So I hope that you were able to hear all that through this woodpecker. If you have any questions or comments, come now. And here's the chief.
Thank you. Yeah, David, we'll work on looking at getting from Dinnerau to Anisham tomorrow. With this, I wouldn't want to be in Fiji today. Boy, a lot of reports of rain, and rain. And electrical raid too. Lupan went over to the Bay of Islands overnight in the northern Lao group and got 3 to 5 electrical storms. Now it's just what they've got in Savu and other places, 100% cloud cover, occasional rain, and 1013 on the bar there. And Diego, if you're listening, Max, about an hour ago, had 8 knots from the northeast. Probably might have to have had the engine on. Better than it looked last night. It looked more northerly. But anyway, the swell is less than 1 metre, so he should be cooking up a storm in the galley. Okay, all right, what else have we got here? Is anybody else wanting anything that can hear us? And I still would like somebody to give a call to any boats we can't copy. I can't hear you.
All right, we don't really hear much here if somebody's talking. A yacht wants to go from Dinnerau to Anisham. I would wait probably until Thursday to let all of this convective activity leave the general area of Fiji. It'll still be affecting Tonga on Thursday, but Fiji should be okay. You'll start off with south-southeast, and then through the weekend it'll go southeast. So you'll have a reasonable trip, nothing really strong, maybe 15 to 20 knot standard trade winds. And they'll be coming from the high that's building in Tasman. So yeah, you'll be okay on that trip, I think.
Oh, thank you, Ron. I've just seen from Margaret in Tonga there that the winds have just picked up to over 20 knots. Go ahead, Ron. Well, you're in it's one of these fade away type days today. I get you strong at the start and then nothing. I think you said you're going to pick up a boat. Is that correct?
What the XL calling? XL?
Okay, XL. We know you are in Samoa. Thank you for that. And we've got no copy on you. I think your radio just suffers from a lack of power. Just check that you have it on maximum power, and then we'll see if we can copy you better. What was the signal like, Ron? Over. Well, it's not a very good day because I'm not copying you too well. But anyway, Mark, if you can copy me, we know that you are going to be in Samoa for a couple of weeks. I never actually got to Samoa. David reckoned he would just take me down to South Auckland from time to time. I keep meaning to look that up to see if there's as many Samoans in Auckland as there are in Samoa. Certainly if they all left, our rugby teams from school through to competitive play would be somewhat gutted, but we certainly do have a lot of Samoans here in New Zealand. Thank you for that, Ron. Could you just ask if there's anybody else that needs contact? Over. Thank you very much. And that's it. Did you notice that Eye Candy has been very quiet today? He lost the battle yesterday, folks, on the Romeo issue. So we had to call in a couple of others, called in Peter from Northland Radio, and agreed that the word is Roger. Unless you are using the phonetic alphabet to spell something, like if you wanted to spell Roger, which is used to confirm you have heard something, then if you spelled Roger over there, you would indeed say Romeo, Oscar, Golf, Echo, Romeo. But if you are using a word, it's called a pro word, to confirm something has been received, then Roger it is. All right, now we've got that settled. Is there anything else from anybody? Please call. Oh, you're back in business there, Quintessa. Good morning, Alan. A bit late on parade today. We almost missed you. Where are you? Over.
Roger, yeah, still in, now where am I? Still in Newcastle, down in the southern lagoon, for another couple of days. Then I'll head back up to town for a day or two, and then heading out
Okay, well, we've got you in the Southern Lagoon. What's it like in the Southern Lagoon? Just having a look over David's shoulder, then back up to the Big Smoke to probably restock, and then look at moving off after that. All right, you're there a little bit longer than expected. You must be enjoying it. Over.
Roger, yeah, no, I just dig out this phase of the moon, and then I've got one or two more times.
Roger that. Alrighty. So we'll expect to hear from you in a week or so when you move out. Enjoy it for me. I was just thinking of New Caledonia the other day. Actually, it's a good civilized place to be. We've enjoyed it there. Okay. All right then. Sounds like nobody else is around this morning, and we have a glorious day now. The sun is coming out. A bit of high cirrus. But apart from that, nothing much to worry about.
Enjoy it while
Enjoy it while I've got it. Yeah, it's always the doom and gloom. But it is quite a pretty morning here. And after what we experienced last week, we do appreciate it. Cheers, everybody. The frequency's all yours. The SOPAC net, of course, will start in 10 minutes, is it? Did I get that right? No, it's a couple of hours away. 2000. So... unless my clock is slow here, 1900.
That's 10 minutes.
10 minutes away. Yes, it is. And my clock is stopped, actually, my UTC clock. Okay, thanks everybody. We are now clear.
That direction there.